Here's more wrestling news for October 28th, 2022, and we're starting off with AEW, as this week's Dynamite saw another change in the MJF character as he was betrayed by the Firm in the closing moments of the show. MJF was attacked by the Firm after he told them to stop assaulting Jon Moxley, fresh off another successful AEW World title defense, and Stokely Hathaway and his crew have had enough. While MJF has been changing his character in recent weeks, he's far from a fully fledged face, but as Brian Alvarez said on Wrestling Observer Live, many are rooting for that idea. There are people in AEW that strongly think they should go with him as a babyface. They feel that he could be a massive babyface. They think that's what he should do now. There are people who believe he could be a generational babyface. Like The Rock, MJF is so charismatic that fans are finding it hard to boo him, though he is reported to be against the idea of a face turn. With the Full Gear main event just 22 days away, MJF's on the cusp of becoming the next AEW World Champion, but whether he'll be the top babyface that leads the company going forward remains to be seen. In July, Karrion Kross returned to WWE alongside his wife Scarlett in what would be the first of many returns to the company. Despite dominating in NXT, Kross's first main roster run on Raw was incredibly underwhelming, to the point that WWE are acting like it never happened. Earlier this year, there were rumors that AEW were considering bringing Kross in, and that he and W. Morrissey were the top options for who would be Wardlow's mystery opponent on the May 4th Dynamite. Speaking to the Mirror newspaper, Kross confirmed that he did have talks with AEW about signing, but said that it was quickly, quote, abundantly clear that a WWE return is what fans wanted to see. Sure enough, Kross didn't debut for AEW, and Morrissey instead took a loss to Wardlow, which was fiercely debated between AEW and Impact, where Morrissey was signed to at the time. Given how prominently Kross has been featured since returning to WWE, not signing with AEW is probably the right call for the former NXT champion, who remains one of the biggest stars on SmackDown every Friday night. When Jon Moxley signed his new 5-year deal with AEW, it was reported that he would wrestle exclusively for the promotion, as well as New Japan, thanks to their working relationship. Moxley is no stranger to working in a New Japan ring, and he showed up during last night's show. At the Night Before Rumble on 44th Street event in New York City, Moxley made an unadvertised appearance, teaming with Eddie Kingston, Amazing Red, Homicide, Shota Umino, and Kazuchika Okada in a 12-man tag. This was nothing short of a dream team, and the crowd in New York loved every minute, and the match was won by the Faces after Moxley pinned IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Jay White, who was leading the opposing team. It's certainly interesting that the AEW World Champion now has a pinfall victory over the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, but even if this doesn't lead to anything, Moxley's appearance was a huge moment at the New Japan show. Now, as we approach the holidays, the WWE superstars are wanting to spend more time with their families, which often forces WWE to change their schedules. This year is no different, and we now have an idea as to how shows will be aired this December. PW Insider has learned that the December 16th SmackDown will see a live episode, but also the taping of next week's show, which will air on December 23rd. As for NXT, the December 13th show will be live, but both the December 20th and 27th episodes will be pre-taped, giving the superstars of the White and Gold brand some extra time off. There's no confirmation about Raw, but it is believed WWE will film their December 26th episode on December 19th, as WWE traditionally does an untelevised live event in Madison Square Garden on Boxing Day. The holidays can be a hectic time for those in work, and WWE is no exception, but hopefully the roster and those backstage are able to enjoy some quality time with their loved ones this December. If you know much about Eddie Kingston, you'll know that the AEW star is not a fan of many people in AEW, most notably Claudio Castagnoli. Even before Castagnoli joined AEW, Kingston had harsh words for the former Cesaro, but he's now turned his attention to a different member of the Blackpool Combat Club. It was in June that Kingston called Bryan Danielson a judgmental prick, and during a recent Eat Sleep podcast repeat appearance, Kingston added William Regal to his list of enemies. I don't talk to Regal because he's a Bryan fan. He really likes Bryan Danielson, and he really likes Claudio Castagnoli. Me and Claudio are cool now, but I don't trust him. Only reason me and Claudio are cool is because Jon Moxley asked me. I told Mox that I would never be cool with Bryan. The fact that Kingston and Claudio are cool now is a step in the right direction, but don't expect the Mad King to make amends with Bryan Danielson over what Kingston sees as the latter's judgmental behavior. In recent years, John Cena has become a star in Hollywood with his hit roles in films like Bumblebee and 2021's The Suicide Squad. Cena has certainly been one of the most successful wrestlers to turn to acting, and he now has another huge role to his name. The Hollywood Reporter has learned that Cena will be the lead in the upcoming film Heads of State and will co-star alongside Idris Elba. The film has been described as Air Force One meets Midnight Run and will be distributed by Amazon Studios as Cena's career outside the ring continues to get bigger and bigger. Back to the ring now as Arianna Grace is a new face in WWE NXT, but recently underwent a serious setback. 2 weeks ago, Grace informed fans that she would be undergoing surgery for an undisclosed injury and has now given an update on her condition. Taking to Twitter, the second-generation superstar said that the surgery went wonderfully and so is her rehab, and thanked the medical team at the Performance Center as well as WWE. The daughter of Santino Marella, Grace made her in-ring debut in April this year and has mostly worked on NXT Level Up so far, and while her injury details are still unclear, we wish her a speedy recovery. Like Grace, Aliyah is also out with an injury, as it was reported last month that she had some serious bruising in her shoulder. At the time, Dave Meltzer reported that her injury wasn't expected to keep her out for long, and we may be seeing Aliyah back very soon. On social media, Aliyah shared footage of her in-ring recovery and was able to stand on her hands and head, which meant her shoulder seems fully healed. After 7 years in WWE, Aliyah's first title reign, the WWE Women's Tag Team titles with Raquel Rodriguez, ended after just 14 days, but the former champ will be hungry for a rematch when she makes her comeback. Last month, Dominik Mysterio turned on his father Ray to join the Judgment Day in one of the most heartbreaking scenes in WWE this year. Ray's refusal to fight his own son has resulted in him moving to SmackDown, but it's believed this storyline will resume closer to WrestleMania. During this week's Raw, Dominik called himself this generation's Eddie Guerrero, but now another name from Ray's past may be getting involved. Speaking on his Keepin' It 100 podcast, Conan was asked if he'd ever consider working as part of the storyline and gave the ominous response, "You never know." Well, Conan did make a handful of appearances in the WWF as Max Moon, the hokey character never gave the veteran the chance to show his skills, and was unbecoming of someone who has been considered Mexico's Hulk Hogan. As for Ray, he recently earned an Intercontinental Championship opportunity and will face Gunther on the November 4th SmackDown, but could soon be sharing the screen with Conan when he next takes on the Judgment Day. And we're ending today with Cody Rhodes, who prior to his return to WWE in April this year was one of the most prominent names in AEW. Cody has since become one of WWE's most popular stars, despite his torn pectoral derailing plans for him, but he hasn't forgotten about his time outside the company. On Instagram, Rhodes shared the view from inside his truck, revealing that he keeps an all-access pass from All In hanging from his rearview mirror, as a reminder to shoot for the furthest of goals. All In was the largest indie event ever, and is seen by many as a precursor to AEW, as it helped prove that there was a viable market for wrestling in the United States that wasn't WWE. With reports that he'll be healed in time for the Royal Rumble, Cody is considered by many to be the one who will dethrone Roman Reigns, but no matter what heights he reaches in WWE, Rhodes will never forget where he's come from. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.